welcome to Talk That Talk. Beyonce.
Yeah, so it's Beyonce. Yeah, so it's Beyonce.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Talk That Talk with me, your host, Tamara Simone. I got some great people in here today, but I want to do it a little different, so I have, my first co-host. So, my girl, Ryan, my best friend. How you doing, girl?
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
And my special guest who I'm interviewing today is going to be my all-time favorite person in the world. He's an actor, entrepreneur, he's a model, handles so much stuff, has so much stuff going for him, and I'm so excited to have him here. Donnie.
Thank you, Tam.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm amazing, thank you.
Good. I'm doing good, thank you. I'm so happy to have you. It's been, we've been trying to get, up here in the studio for a few times now, but hey, we did it. We're here. I'm so excited. Mm-hmm. So first off, I want to start about, because you work for Movember, but we're going to talk about that a little later, but you have your own company.
Yes.
Cafe De La Hue.
Cafe De La Hue.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about that.
So Cafe De La Hue is one of my passion projects. I started fundraising for AIDS Walk about 4 years ago.
Wow.
Almost 5, actually, because I was planning in 2013. That's when I was having the epiphanies, and then 2014 I was like, I want to do all these different things on my list. I wanted to do philanthropy, I wanted to act, I wanted to write, I wanted to paint, I wanted to design, I wanted to do everything that an artist could possibly do.
Creative
And
juices.
yeah, and I took this this list to my mentor, and he was like, at the time he was my mentor, he was like, you can't do all these things in a year. And I was like, why I can't? And he was like, you got to figure out one thing to focus on. And I was like, okay, well, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by designing and then donating some of that stuff. Because when we first did AIDS Walk in 2013, I sucked at it. People don't like to give money when you're asking for it, and I don't like asking for money.
Yeah. Oh, you see, that's definitely hard because I'm the same way. I do not like to ask people for money. I'll figure out how to get it.
How to get it.
Yeah.
So I was asking and I failed, and I was like, you know what? Next year has to be something different. So I used my creative juices to bring something forth, and I started selling bow ties.
Oh my god!
And it's crazy because I was waking up at 4:44 3 nights in a row with the same epiphany, and I started sketching in my sketchbook and I colored them, and it was nuts. And then I started to make them, and it's been dope.
That's really awesome because a lot of people that I've interviewed so far, I always ask them how did you get started, how did you get the name or whatever, and it's just epiphany. I woke up, it's God, it was something that just kept on happening, and same with me, it's just kept on happening. You need to do a podcast, you need to do this. So that's so amazing. So where did you get the name from?
The name comes from, so I used to be obsessed with bow ties. So the first name was going to be Adorable, which is so corny. And I used the hashtag.
Adorable!
I know.
I love it.
It was cute and it was catchy. But when I looked it up, I looked it up. I used the hashtag and then I hashtagged it, and I started seeing other people use it. I'm like, damn, I know it's so many millions of people in the world, and this one idea is not mine. But people were doing it, and they were making these cheerleader bows and stuff that. And so I was like, I gotta change it. Yeah. And I wanted so badly to have something of my own, from the ground up. And I'm obsessed with coffee. I used to get all my inspiration in coffee shops. When I was studying in school, I was studying at Starbucks all the time. Yeah. So I always smelled like coffee, and I drink it all the time. Yeah. So Cafe De La Hue comes from my middle name Hue, and cafe is the Hue Cafe. So it's French for the Hue Cafe, but it's so awesome because it's my imaginary coffee shop. If I can have a coffee shop, and when I do, it's going to be called Cafe De La Hue.
Amazing.
That's so exciting. I love it. So you make everything. You hand make all your bow ties.
Everything.
So how did you learn that technique?
So I took one apart that I got from a clothing store.
What? You took it apart?
Yeah, I had to learn, and I put my own spin on it because that one wasn't that one was not mine's aren't a replica of that one, but I was like, I need to see how this is being made. And then YouTube videos, it's I'm a visual learner, but I'm more hands-on. So I was like, let me deconstruct this and then see how I can create something of my own. So I took that bow tie apart, and then I started to learn how to make the straps. And when I first started, it was so horrible. I was using glue gun. I used to, it was tacky. It was you're starting.
You were like, hold on, let me get this glue gun out.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was using the glue gun. I was sewing some of it, and looking back on it now, a lot of it was improvised pieces, and it was very industrial. But then I learned to invest into more quality product and learned how to like sew the strap without having to glue it or like iron it and all these different things. It was a whole entire process. And over time it became like, they became so clean. Like so clean. I hand sew everything now.
I remember when you started doing the bow ties, it was, we had both kind of just moved back to LA and it was like so many scraps of fabric on your floor and on your table. It was so funny. But yeah, it's amazing where you've come from.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And just like, you know, looking at when you started to now, can you see the growth?
It's such a difference because I turned my dining room table into the whole dining room became my sewing studio.
Yeah.
Oh,
so like she's saying, like it was, my apartment was thread, fabric, pieces, scraps everywhere. And I had a table full of like orders and all these different post-it notes with people who got what and and a list of like what I was selling. I was doing everything, like everything was do it yourself. And so looking back on it now, it's like when I first started doing that, I did it as a fundraiser, but then it became a business and then it ended up becoming therapy for me, which is so crazy because a lot of people don't know art therapy or think that art therapy is just painting. It's writing, it's speaking, it's design, it's color, it's everything. And mine was creating bow ties.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's all your senses.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you not only just make bow ties, right?
Right. So and then I was like, okay, bow ties are cool, but everybody doesn't wear bow ties.
Yeah.
How can I expand the brand? And I want to talk about brand expansion too. But I went from bow ties to handbags, and then I started making these clutches, and then I was making.
I love the clutches, by the way. I saw it. I was like, "Where'd you get this?" You're like, "Girl, I made it." I was like, "What? You made it?"
It was crazy doing that because it's like, why would I spend so much money on a bag when I can make it exactly how I want it? Like, if you want something, you got to create it on your own. And then I went from that to ponchos, and then I have a dad cap too that says De La Hue in French, which is delicious in French.
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you.
And so, do you do different events? You go to different events and sell your stuff? How does that? How can people get your stuff from you?
So if I do a pop-up or if I vend, it's usually at an art show or an event that, you know, someone that's supporting Black artists, not just like Black people that are producing these events, but people usually want to support artists and up-and-coming ones, but I have participated in most recently the ones that support Black artists, and especially Pancakes and Booths. Pancakes and Booths is like the largest underground art show, and that's where I got my first start. Like every time I go to Pancakes and Booths, it makes me so emotional because I remember that being my first situation and like staying up for night. I made like over 100 bow ties, and it took me like a couple of weeks, but I crash coursed it and went and sold, and every weekend that I did it, it was really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
It's cool. And people, they come by and it's a whole entire experience. Like,
I've never been to Pancakes and Booths. That would be dope. I want to go.
I didn't do it this year, but whenever I do it, it's usually dope. And people that go, they frequent it, so they remember me when I go. And they come by the station and they smell like the coffee beans and they look at the cookie butter and they go crazy. They're like, "Oh my God, I love cookie butter." And I'm like, "Me too." That it's literally home at a 6x4 table.
I was gonna say, let's talk about your booth though, real quick.
Oh my God, yes. You know what?
Warm.
Yes.
Very, like you said, just very.
And you see a lot of booths out there, and it's like, okay, like people put their time in it, but you put your time in it. Like, I mean, like it looks, the setup. Oh my God, you guys definitely have to see this. The setup is crazy. And it's so cute and warm and just fun. Like just when I saw your booth for the first time, I saw it at my Sands barbershop. And literally I walked in there and I was just like, oh my God, this is so cute. So how do you like come up with that creative?
I remember doing Crown Barbershop.
Yeah.
I love her. She was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything was just pieces I collected over time. Like I had some stuff at my booth and still have it that was in my my first apartment from sophomore year in college. Like I collect different things and I wanted to feel like a museum. I wanted to feel like home. I wanted to feel like it's my own personal coffee shop, but like this portable one that I could pick up and pack up and take with me. And I come up with it just by finding different things. Like I like industrial. I like wood. I like metals. I like lights. I have marquee lights. I like coffee cups. I like mason jars. Mason jars are like an iconic symbol in my brand.
Oh my God.
I know. And then when I do the pop-ups and stuff like that, I'm like, I want to be the Beyonce of this. Like, I got to do this and make it an experience when people come and like enjoy it, and I don't want it to just be like I have stuff set all over the table.
Just sitting there.
Yeah.
Like you have a decoration.
It's a moment.
Decor. It's really nice.
A lot of it is home stuff. Like,
and it makes you feel at home when you walk up to it. It's like, oh, okay, like ooh, and then how the bows are set up, and you have some. I seen some like sunflowers in there.
Yeah,
like
so interesting enough, the flowers have changed every time over what I'm going through in life, and I didn't even know. Yes. So when I was what do you call, like, whimsical and like more innocent and just like didn't know what heartbreak was, I had sunflowers, and sunflowers were my favorite flower. And then I was going through a situation where I was going through a breakup, and I started putting carnation. You know, you got to use your creativity before you lose it. And I was, at that time, it's crazy how much my life revolves around, like, the development courses come from relationships, and we usually don't even like pay attention to the relationship as something that's supposed to teach us stuff. We just try to like possess it. But I was dating someone who was this like extreme creative, this gypsy, this artist. He did everything. He was like a Renaissance man, and it made me want to be creative again, because I was such an intellect and academic that I let my creative part go. So all of that was happening at the same time, and I'm like waking up, and I hit up my cousin, and I was like, you got to come with me to the fashion district. I got to get material. I don't care what time we get up. But we woke up at like 6 o'clock, and we got ready, and then we ended up going.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started in the fashion district downtown LA, and then I started finding different fabric stores. So I like Joann's because they have like really cool patterns. And I also like the fabric store in La Brea, which they shut down. Like they shut down the fabric store. They're only online now. So different stores, different places. My Southern Comfort collection, which was a collection inspired by my trip back home to Mississippi. Because my maternal side's from Mississippi, Mississippi and Louisiana. And so we went to Mississippi, Hazelhurst, Mississippi, and New Orleans that year. And when I was down there, I was like, I'm going to come up with a new collection. That was the time where I was setting myself free. Yes. Southern Comfort, I felt like I was down. I felt like I was like beneath myself, and I had to, it was uncomfortable, but it was comfortable to know that like I had somewhere to be. Like that was a place to call home. And when I was in Mississippi, my aunt Marguerite, she took me to Brookhaven to get like to an antique store, and they had so much fabric. And so I started picking like a few pieces from that, and I created the Southern Comfort collection, which is crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, my connection to her is really interesting because her son, the only son she had, passed away from AIDS. So that's why I became an AIDS activist.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Wow. Yeah, because your ties and where you get them, like the fabric, I've never seen anything like it. It's so different, and I love it. I'm like, dang, I want one. I just want one just to have one. I don't even worry about ties. Like, so they're so cute. I love them.
And whenever I see something, I think in terms of food. So, like, my stuff is inspired by coffee shop and cafe. Yeah. So everything's named after something edible or that you would see at a coffee shop.
Okay, give us some names of like...
I had so as far as the edible stuff, like I had an old-fashioned honey bun one, which is my favorite one, or short stack. It's a brown leather. It's like a cognac color.
Ooh, yeah.
I have blueberry compote, which is like what you would eat on fancy pancakes, but it's like crushed blueberries and everything. And I also have silver. It's called Silverware 925. So 925 is the symbol on silver. That's how you tell it's real. It's like the number of the element, but it's also my birthday.
You put me on.
Yeah, okay, September 25th is my birthday, so Silverware 925 is the silver bow tie, which is crazy. All of them are like, yeah,
I love
it's catchy.
it. And you just base it off coffee or like little coffee shops that you come across. You're like, okay, this is gonna be the name.
Yeah, or I'll see it and I'll be like, that looks like poppy seed, or like that looks like honey, but I want to call it honey butter to make it like interesting.
So do you have a current project that you're working on with your, like, are you gonna release some new ties?
Okay, so that's why I wanted to talk about brand expansion, because
let's hear it.
I'm moving more so. Not a lot of people are wearing bow ties, and I'm in tune with following the market. Yeah. And so I want to open up my the brand was built in advocacy. And so instead of raising money and funds and awareness through selling bow ties, I want to use my voice more. And so I came up with a campaign called the Breakfast Campaign, and it's an acronym for BRKFST. And it's because real kings fight stigma too. So
I love it, Donnie.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh! So what does that entail? So what are you going to be doing with that?
So it's basically I'm wanting to produce more films. I'm wanting to create like a podcast avenue, a talk show, like all of these things where I'm on camera because I'm an actor and because, you know, I like being in front of the camera. I like sending messages with my voice and my art. I have topics like where I want to get people that I know that are creative in different industries and talk to them about things that are relevant what's going on, and especially focus on mental health, because when I stemmed away from the HIV prevention world, I started to do more mental health work, and that's how I got in touch with Movember. Last year when I was cause ambassador with them, and this year it was I reached out to them for sponsorship for the breakfast campaign, and they were like, oh my god, we need you to come speak at our drag bingo.
Okay, so going into that now, you work for Movember. You had an event last night. How was that?
That was amazing. It was, so Movember is now stepping into like a broader scale of awareness, and they're including more LGBT like in the spotlight. So last night was our drag bingo, and I basically got up there and told my Movember story and why mental health awareness is important. And for those who don't know what Movember is,
let us know, because you know there's a lot of people out there that still don't know what Movember was or is. And I found out because Ryan's brother, he worked there, and then you were doing stuff. You were doing stuff, and you guys were inviting us to different parties and stuff that you guys had, and that was like the first time I actually was like, wow, Movember is dope. Because I'm like, okay, Movember, guys grow out their mustache and all of that, beards, hair, whatever. And that's what, but there's so much more to it.
It's so much more, and the aesthetic attracted me. So so let me tell you the Movember story. Movember, first of all, is the only global foundation that focuses solely on men's health. So there's other organizations that focus on men's health, but like they're all over the world, raising over $80 million last year, over $22 million this year from the United States. Like they're in Australia, our headquarters is in Culver City. Like it's such a dope foundation, and they focus on prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health, and suicide prevention. And so
those are big. Like, I haven't heard of a company doing it like this.
And all over the world.
And it's so important because all those things are so real, and like people definitely need someone to be able to talk to, vent to about, you know, these different things, because a lot of people aren't talking, and having Movember, that's awesome.
It's crazy because it's men's health awareness, but some of these things that fall under the umbrella of what we're raising awareness on affect Black men at a higher rate, and like the risk is increased with us. And so like prostate cancer and things like mental health and suicide, like every minute a man is committing suicide, and 3 out of 4 suicides are men. So that's like the highest, a high percentage.
And men have a higher rate of completing suicide.
Instead of attempting.
And men don't always talk about mental health either. So it's a great way for that to open up.
And I found Movember when I was in college as a wellness coordinator on campus. I was working with Associated Students Inc. And I realized the person before me, we didn't have men's health awareness, like something to focus on men's health. I specifically did research to find out organizations that only focused on men's health, because we had breast cancer awareness, which affects men too. But there was so much awareness on other topics that we didn't get anything specifically for men. Like I want something for us so we can know, instead of walking around like we have this egocentrism or like a complex like something's not going to happen to us. We got to talk about stuff. And we're redefining masculinity with Movember now, and I talked about that in my article on depression. The headline makes it seem as if I was battling a deep depression, but it was basically me talking about how depression doesn't it doesn't pick people. I mean it's everyone can go through depression, and no one's talking about those things, especially men, because we're held to such a higher standard of hiding our emotions, your emotions.
Don't cry. Be your man. Be a man about it. Like, don't be a sissy. Be bold. Like,
but we gotta empower each other. Like,
embrace
really,
it.
And whether you are woman, man, female to male, male to female, anything, just know that like you have to talk about your situations with people that are close to you and that you trust, and like being vulnerable. That's what I talked about last night when I gave my speech. The power of vulnerability and the art of being kind. Because you have to be kind to yourself, you have to be kind to other people, you have to be receptive of kindness, and you have to be open and like look in, like, there's so many people that feel like the world is on their shoulders without realizing it's a cape under there. And, like, you don't have to be a hero for the world, but you got to save yourself. Like, that's how I feel.
And you make a really good point in regards to being a minority and having to deal with mental health, because it's an intersectionality thing. It's like you not only are battling things just, you know, with mental health, but then you also have to consider your ethnicity, your socioeconomic status. Like, all of these things affect your mental health.
And that's why it's crazy how things work, because I went to school to be a nurse. And while I was doing that, I studied sociology and psych. And when I got my BA in sociology and psych, I started working for as a counselor and in these organizations where I was realizing there were more external factors affecting people than I learned about in the books. There were more external factors affecting people that I experienced myself. And, like, everything matters when it comes to people. And, like you said, like, our minorities face many more of those factors, especially socioeconomic factors when it comes to finances, education, work, and everything. And even just accepting ourselves. Because so much has been taught to us that is not okay, when actually it's so powerful and beautiful.
Another thing is that you brought up that Movember is including more LGBTQ plus
and I love
community,
that.
Which is
I
great,
love that,
because that just adds another layer. Sometimes it's like a whole nother layer of oppression. But, you know, if you can figure out ways to like find help, or, you know, just kind of join an organization like you have, I mean, it helps with like positive self-esteem and all that.
Thank you. You're so right. And I, like, reach both of those demographics, like as a gay man, as a black man, and as a black gay man. It's like 3 veils.
That's beautiful. So was that the reason why you, like, got into Movember and, like, started helping out? What did you do your first year of Movember, actually?
So my first year actually working with Movember, I was a cause ambassador for the Move campaign. And the Move campaign was basically like fitness, being active. Like, what are you going to do to move to make your life better and, like, become more, you know, of a wellness person? Now I'm more so spokesmodel and advocacy, where I'm, like, speaking and talking more, as opposed to, like, modeling for the site and writing stories or, like, being interviewed in the story. It's more so being out there and, like, showing face and being what people would say is brave enough to stand on stage and talk about these things. But it's so necessary, and I'm so sure of myself that I don't even see it as bravery. I'm like, this needs to be done. Like, and somebody's got to do it, and I could care less what anyone else says about it. I'll get up there and I'll speak and I'll talk about my situations. I'll get up there in rooms where there aren't many men that look like me and have to be a representation for people that look like me. And a lot of people are, like, not really understanding that if you don't see something somewhere, be there. Make space for yourself.
Make space for it.
And that's what I did. I reached out to them. And I figured that I didn't see much of myself. And I know that this is an organization that I believe in. This is an organization that I have brought into my university 4 hours away from here. And going back to, or moving back to LA, and, like, being able to reach out to them and contacting PR, doing the work. You have to do the work.
You have to do the work. You can't just see. A lot of people think they can just sit there and chill and things happen magically or overnight. Like, no, like, if you really, really want something, or if you want to be a part of something, you have to go out there and hustle.
You gotta get it.
You have to hustle, break your back, like, do things that you wouldn't think you would do. Like, be uncomfortable at sometimes, you know, because that's on the other side of that is success. So you can get so much stuff out of that, and I commend you.
Thank you.
You know, helping people and motivating people and teaching them about Movember and just going out there and just speaking the real. Because like, our culture is about, like, the realness. We want to know the real stuff and like what's going on. You ain't got to sugarcoat stuff with us. Like, keep it honest. Like, you know, if you're depressed, let someone know. Talk about it. Call the depressed hotlines. There's so many different avenues you can go. And I'm so happy you're here to talk about Movember with us and discuss all that stuff. So why Movember?
So the mustache and no shade, at first it comes off as a sense of masculinity, but it's just, I feel like it's a discipline. It's a challenge to shave yourself the first day and go the whole month without it. So that when you're growing this beard and you're growing this mustache and people are commenting on your mustache, that's a conversation starter. It's a conversation piece. It's like, oh my God, your mustache is so dope. Oh, thank you. I'm doing this for the Movember challenge. You know
so Movember. It's like a spark of conversation.
And so it's attractive, and it also is a sign of, like, manhood. And it's such a beautiful, iconic, like, feature, especially in the hipster world. And it's like, it's so awesome to see these people get so excited to do it or go to the foundation's headquarters and see the shaving. And
that is so dope, because at the headquarters it's like a barber shop inside. Like right when you walk in, first they have like a car outside, like a, I don't know,
it's a food truck. That like old little truck.
There's an old little car, and then it's like, okay, so we walk in and it's like this nice, clean, like old school classic exposed barber shop. It's so nice, and there's like different rooms. There's like picnic tables and stuff like that. It's the vibe is so dope in there.
It's beautiful.
It's like a cabin. It feels like a cabin.
Yeah, it feels like a cabin.
And it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm just so big about things feeling like home. Like we need a place to belong. And Movember feels like home for people that come. We have so much fun there. Like so much. And this year we're also partnering with Cremo, which is a shaving and hygiene line.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's spelled Cremo. And it's so dope because the products smell good. Like you can, it's pomades, it's like shaving creams, body wash. The scents are amazing. It'd be like musk, like manly smells. It's so good.
Okay.
So you talked about masculinity. What would you say is your definition of masculinity?
Oh, my definition of masculinity would be the ability to just stand up for something. Like, even standing up for yourself, and not just like, oh, I'm defending myself, but no, stand up for yourself to yourself. Sometimes we have like these internal battles. And masculinity is being honest, being open, being vulnerable. I think some of the most powerful things come from the places that people think are the most soft. And that's what's masculine to me. I mean, outside of the physical stuff, like I could talk about muscles and height and hair and all these things all day, but I think when I think about masculinity, I think about drive and ambition, and like anyone can have that. Females, males, anyone can have those masculine characteristics. The will to not give up. Like that's it. And that's so powerful for mental health awareness. Not giving up.
So what do you have coming up for Movember, like for this month? I know there's a lot of things going on, so you have like certain events that people can, go to, or what is going on? So
what's happening now? Well, they have the headquarters, like you can go there and get shaved, like and get awareness and stuff. Most of the events we're still pushing out. Like we just solidified the one from last night, so they're still working out everything else. But the newsletters are out, and I can give the website so people can go see it.
Well, yeah, definitely. We're gonna need that. And like, what if like people want to get involved with Movember? How do they do that?
Oh my God! So you can contact anyone at HQ, preferably like the publicists or anyone that's working in PR or the outreach team, the developers. Like, they're such cool people. Or you can contact me and we can talk about how you can get in or volunteer or spread awareness. Like, just start by reaching out and contacting.
That's the first thing.
Because that's how I got in. I reached out and I was like, I need to see my face. Like, I need to do this. This message is so big to me. Like, I want to be a part of this. And there's different ways you can do that. You can really start by, you don't have to be an affiliate of the organization, like work with them. But if you want to be involved and you want to do something for the cause, raise money, donate to Movember, like donate to the cause.
They said you could like throw parties and stuff and use that too.
You can have a moment. It's called a moment.
Okay.
So you go on Movember.com and then you go to be involved or get involved, and under that tab, you will see like the moment. Like, you can have a moment, and you'll get a kit, and you'll get a fundraising situation, and like you can have a party anywhere at your house or like at a rented facility, and you can get people to like talk about.
And that's awesome.
Wow,
you can do it yourself.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I think do it yourself. Anything is cool, but when you have an organization behind you that represents something huge and it's global. It's not just in the United States. It's not just in LA.
Everywhere.
It's the world.
It's huge.
And it's affecting men
and
all over the world.
The founders weren't even from here. They were from
Australia.
Yeah, from Australia.
Wow. And then they started in Australia as this little company, and then just within the years
and just global. It's amazing. It's so amazing.
Awesome. And Movember is not just only for November. You guys make awareness throughout the year.
Throughout the year. So Movember is our month of awareness. Like, that is the celebratory. Like, we are doing fundraising for this month. And we're going to try to get so much money. But throughout the year, it's important to take care of yourself. Talk to your friends. Like, read the articles, go to the news section, watch the videos, watch the powerful things that have been created to push the message. And that can be done at any time of day, throughout the year, whenever. But when November does come around and it's Movember, then put your best foot forward in raising money and like awareness for it. Do whatever you can. Even if you don't raise money, like, I want to challenge people to hit up their friends, 5 of your friends a day or a week, or like one person a day, and just really check in. Like, how are you?
How are you?
What's going on? And like, tell them, be honest with me, because I'm opening myself up to be available for you. I remember one morning I woke up, and it was around the time when I created my brand. I sent a text message to every single person in my contact list.
Wow.
A different text message. Like, sat in bed for 3 hours and just like wrote individual personalized messages. You got one. And it was so, the responses, like, I don't even know the percentage. I can't even imagine how many people wrote back to me how much they needed that.
Yeah.
And you think like, oh, my friends just handling their business. We have this like thing in our culture right now, especially young millennials, where we're like, I don't see you for a few weeks, but when we get back together, we good.
Yeah,
but
we're good.
What happens within those few weeks?
We should still be making sure, checking and seeing if we're
and
okay.
I'm guilty of that too.
You know, I'm guilty as that. Like, I can go weeks, like, not talking to people, and it'll be like, oh, hey, like, what's going on? Like, acting like I already, like, I've been talking to them this whole time. But, yeah, I need to be more aware and reach out to my friends, especially, like, my close ones. I talk to them every day, but, like, just reach out and be like, how are you?
Yep.
Like, how are you doing? You know, because group chat can only go so far.
Yeah.
Like, you need that personal, like, one-on-one, like, maybe a personal phone call. Because when I get phone calls, like, I don't like to talk on the phone, but I'm like, okay, when I get a phone call,
on the phone.
we know.
I'll call you.
Yeah, she'll call. But like, it's like, okay, like, wow, like I needed that. I needed someone, you know, to check on me or see if I'm okay, if I'm breathing.
That was like last week. I was like, hey, and you're like, what?
Like, what do you want?
I'm calling you. You're like, why? I was like, I just want to call.
See?
But like, definitely that's important to check up on your friends, make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
What is some advice, like, you know, so we end this interview, like, what is some advice you can give to people on, like, entrepreneurship or being more involved in the community, being more aware of, like, mental health and how to get involved in different things?
I think with entrepreneurship, start somewhere.
Yeah.
No matter where you're at, with whatever you have. Like I was talking about earlier, I started with glue guns and scraps and all kinds of stuff, but it worked and it developed, and you see it and you critique yourself, and you be open to allow criticism, but don't take it so personally to where it changes you. And put your focus in whatever it is you want to do. If you're an entrepreneur like me and Issa Rae and we're like multi-hyphenates. I remember like going to the Q&A and I asked that. But like, as if you are a multi-hyphenate, be a multi-hyphenate. And a lot your time, it's going to take discipline, and it's going to take like really strong effort to change and schedule different times to work on different areas. Like yesterday I was preparing for, or the day before yesterday, I was reading a script for an audition that I got a call back on. Then I'm like preparing my speech for Movember, and I'm also promoting my brand and tagging stuff and like trying to get people to buy bow ties. And also see that I'm starting this campaign and I'm raising money for that. People have donated to Cafe De La Hue too, which is helping me to get started with these productions. But you have to be resourceful. Open your mouth and ask for help, because it hurts if you are a freelance entrepreneur to not ask for help. I've learned from my mistakes by not asking for help. Don't be prideful. And the worst thing that someone can do is say no or steal your idea. But we ain't gonna get into all of that. I know, but it's like that's the worst they could do. I mean, that hasn't happened to me, but I think that's the worst they can do. And getting more involved and taking care of your mental health, what I would say about that is reach out. And don't be afraid to reach out. That's sending emails, talk to your friends, and talk to yourself. Like write yourself letters.
I hit myself in my pull Issa, look at yourself in the mirror.
Okay, become mirror B word. Okay,
use your coping skills.
Right.
Shout out to Issa Rae, because she's one of my idols. And I look up to her. I got to speak to her at the Q&A, but I just hope to meet her because she's inspiring so many people, and she's doing it and being authentic. Throughout all of that, be authentic. Entrepreneurship. Like, be authentic with yourself about your mental status and like where you are. Like, be authentic with how much you're willing to give to the community. Not
and
everybody wants to.
Like, don't be afraid to notice that something is wrong. I think that's what a lot of people are fearful.
That's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Donnie, for being here.
Thank you,
Donnie.
I'm so excited. Ryan, thank you for co-hosting with me, my love. Donnie, where could they find Movember? You give me all the information, like how emails, whatever.
So you can find me on Instagram at Donnie Hue, DonnieHue, and then Cafe De La Hue, CafeDeLahue. you can follow Movember on Instagram, Movember, and then you can get their website and my website on all of that. The social media is all there, but go to those websites.
Yes, Ryan, and of course Ryan Hue. Tell them your socials, girl.
I just got really one. I'm on Instagram, XOXO Ryan Ashley.
Okay. But yes, well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and follow me on my socials at Tamara Simone Live, my YouTube channel, Lights Tamara Action, and make sure you guys subscribe to my iTunes podcast channel as well, or on SoundCloud. Until next time, out.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.